Happy Friday, good people. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Finance Friday. I'm very happy to have you guys on here. Now, I honestly feel like one of the most crucial times for someone to really think about their money and do financial planning for major life, milestones in life is when you are young. And guys, we are not age shaming here, but really, let's be honest. Having the advantage of time on your side is one of the dopest things that you can have going on for you when it comes to money. Unfortunately, at the time where we are young, we are vibrant, it's very unfortunate that that's the same season where our money seems to have wings. Like we cannot tell where our money is going, yet it's coming in. And as age now starts coming up, that's when the anxiety starts setting in and you start realizing, oh my God, I may never experience financial freedom, or what am I going to do about the fact that I'm getting old, I'm going to retire in the next however many number of years, or I'm starting a family. And it's one of the things that I find very it's a vicious cycle, because when you're young, you're falling into that trap of like, I have my whole life ahead of me. There's nothing to stress about or nothing to worry about. And that's the time, that's the season, or that's the time where you really, really need to be careful about your money and take advantage of the fact that you're young, you can earn, you can job hop and do all of those things, which is why I thought it is very, very important on today's episode to talk to my fellow youngings, okay? So even if you consider yourself young at heart, this video is also for you. But I really want to talk to young professionals. You've just started like your job, or you're just kind of like gearing up. You've been working maybe just a few years, less than 5 years, and the money is already coming in. I'd like to talk to you about how you can take advantage of your youth, take advantage of the fact that you're young and you're a young professional, and what are some of the tips and hacks and tricks that you can use to do proper financial planning and to have as little regrets as possible as you get older. So let's get into it. One of the things you must have as a young professional, the first and the most important, is you must have financial goals. You need to treat your finances like Fortune 500 companies. The reason why they're Fortune 500 companies is because they have strategic planning, they have goals, they stick to them, they work on them, and that's why we know them. I find it absolutely ridiculous that we spend half of our lives in school so that we can get a job, so that we can earn this money, but like we have no plan, no written strategy, no written goals about what we want to do with our hard-earned money. That's ridiculous, guys. Like in a day, you give your employer probably more than 8 hours if you include traffic to and fro. Like you're working so hard for this money that you're earning right now, but like you cannot show a goal or a written plan or a strategy as to what you would want your money to do for you, or what the plan is with your money. That's one of the reasons why money is not working for us as young people. And one of the reasons why this is happening is because we are falling into the trap of, oh, you're too young, don't be under pressure, you have your whole life to work on these goals and to work on life goals. But the truth of the matter is that now is the time that you need to have some form of compass. You understand? Like some form of direction in terms of like, so in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, where would I want to be? What would I want to achieve? Do I want to own a home? Do I want to travel? Do I want to have passive income at the age of 40? Listen, if you're in your 20s right now and you'd like to earn passive income in your 40s, that means you have around a 20-year window or a 15-year window to build investments towards passive income. And you're sleeping, you're not investing yet. The truth of the matter is that you're not going to have passive income at 40 if you've not already started investing in your 20s. And that's one of the reasons I tell people, you see this lie that people tell you that, oh, you're too young, don't be under pressure. Take it from me. You need to be under pressure, because if you don't have pressure right now, you're going to have pressure in your 40s or in your 50s. And that's like the worst time to have pressure, because you do not have the advantage of time. Like time is not on your side. So be the kind of a person, be the kind of a young person that has values, that has goals, that drive or inform the way you behave with your money and the way you think about money. You will thank me later. The second thing that I urge every young professional to do is to be a faithful steward of the money that you have right now. Because believe me, guys, how you behave with the little money, that money that you're feeling it's so little, the way you behave with the little money that you have right now is exactly how you're going to behave with the big money that you're going to begin to earn or continue to earn as you advance in age and as you advance in careers. So many times I've spoken to people who in their 20s, they were earning like 20,000 or 30,000 and they felt like they were able to survive with that money. And now we are talking 6 figures, 7-figure kind of salaries. And this person is struggling to pay bills and to meet deadlines and to even save or invest. And you wonder, when you had the 30K or 40K, like why were you able to survive and now the money is like times 10, times 20 and you're still struggling with money? It's because of this thing we call lifestyle creep. So you might want to be accountable with your spending. And if you're a young professional, one of the most amazing things you can do for yourself, it's simple, it's practical, and it's effective, is to know where your money is going. Ensure that you understand how much money is coming in, whether you're getting that from a business, a side hustle, or even employment. Know and have a very clear picture of what is coming in, and then have an even clearer picture of where your money is going. And I know people will tell you, don't stress, this is obsessive. You don't have to track all of your expenses. Honestly, guys, one of the best things that I've ever done for myself is to actually have an expense tracker and to know exactly where my money is going. You know why? Because when you have a very clear picture, I'm spending 20K on entertainment, I'm spending this much on Uber, I spend this much on food, I spend this much on drinks. You're able to identify where your spending loopholes are. You're able to also identify where you most constantly bleed money. And as early as possible, you're able to change some of these habits and you're able to change some of these things. Because as you get older, I'm telling you, your habits get worse. The spending on booze moves from 5,000 to 50,000. It's very easy, guys. Take it from me. I deal with people and I work with people who are coming to me with crazy ass expenses. I mean like 50,000 every month, past 100,000 every month going to entertainment. And that's just like, that's the blurry picture that we have, not the full picture. So you might want to close all the spending loopholes that you have early enough, and then also have a budget that includes the kind of lifestyle that you would want to live. I keep telling you guys, I'm not the coach that will tell you not to have fun with your money, but I'm the coach that will tell you to know exactly how much fun money you're spending. Does that make sense? So we are not saying don't have fun, but we are saying have a very well done budget that shows you how much you're spending on clothes, how much you're spending on going out, how much you're spending on, let's say, drinks, how much you're spending on school, if you're still in school. Like, have a very clear and accurate picture of where your money is going. If you can start that as early as possible, as you continue to graduate in age and even in your career, if you carry that money principle, or if you carry that value along, it's one of the most efficient ways to ensure that one day you do not hit a financial snag, or you don't crumble financially because of things like debt or being unaware of what's happening in your money. Now, if you're wondering, Coach, how do I get this done? You know your girl always got you. I already have a done for you budgeting template that takes into account how much money you're earning. It takes into account how much you're spending on needs. It takes into account even things like how much you're spending on black tax, if you have such things. It takes into account how much money you're spending on fun, entertainment, luxury, your hair, massages, mobile subscriptions, TV subscriptions. And even we have a section for tracking how much you've saved and how much you've invested and how much you're even paying back in debt. If you're interested in starting 2024 on the right track and you're like, okay, I've been trying to budget and I haven't been able to come up with one, I already have a done for you Excel template that all you have to do is to actually key in the figures and it runs all the way. Like the Excel sheet has all the way from January to December. So you can use this one budget tracker for the rest of the year and be able to identify how your spending patterns have changed or improved or deteriorated throughout the year. The budget tracker is only 750 shillings, guys. You have no excuse not to get it, okay? So I'm going to link it down in the description box below so that you can get it and start budgeting right as a young professional or even as a person who's young at heart. One of the other things that you need to understand as a young professional is how to navigate loans. No one talks to us about loans in school. No one prepares us for the monster that is debt. And one of the things that will very quickly kill your financial future as a young professional is bad debt. So number one, you need to identify or understand the difference between bad debt and good debt. And you need to get it, or rather get your definitions either from professionals or from well-accredited financial books, because so many of us are taking loans and you're like, coach, I thought that was a good loan. I'm like, no, listen. A bad debt is any money you're taking out for consumption purposes, for something that could have either been saved up for or something that should have just been done if you were living within your means. Like, it should be catered to by your paycheck, okay? A good loan is money that you're actually taking out to either increase your wealth or to increase your ability to earn an income. Does that make sense, guys? So you need to understand how to navigate loans. Bad debt will kill your future very, 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 very fast. So many of our parents, we watch them getting auctioned. We watched them lose, wealth they had accumulated for years because of being unawares of, like, especially right now for us, why this is important is because debt is one of the easiest things to access right now. You can do it from your mobile phone. Your banks are constantly sending you messages and texts about this and that and the other facility. You don't even need guarantors anymore for some of these loans. And so it's become very easy. It's like clockwork. If I need something and my money is not enough, then I can take out debt. Now, guys, if you carry that into your further years, that means that you're already taking out debt for your day-to-day, you're taking out debt for sherehe, you're taking out debt for, things that you should ideally plan for. What's going to happen is that as you get older, you're going to start taking out loans and debt for things that you should ideally not take out loans and debt for. For example, instead of planning for your child's education, you're going to start taking loans for that. Instead of, being able to furnish your house, buying your fridge when there's money to buy your fridge, buying your curtains when there's money to buy your curtains, you're literally going to start taking out loans to furnish your house. And that's not something that you're supposed to take out loans for. So as a young professional, do not fall into the trap of bad debt too soon. Because as I told you guys, the most probable thing that is going to happen is that you're going to carry your money habits even as you age and even as you advance more in your career. So you do not want to get into bad debt too early in your life, because it's going to kill your financial future. It's going to stifle how much or how fast you can grow. And this is something that I saw. As I told you guys, around the time that I lost my job in 2019, I had my HELB loan. That's for the people who are not Kenyan, that's student loans here in Kenya. I also had like a SACCO loan, and I also had some inherited debt from, from home. One of my family members had been in debt, and, we were almost like, getting into an auction situation. So I also like picked up that. And then I also had the regular like mobile loans, because of my paycheck was under pressure, and so I'd already normalized that around, because we used to be paid around 29th. So I knew that around 20th, 22nd, I would always take out a mobile loan, like to push me through until the end of the month. And that was just my norm. So imagine losing my job and having all of these loans. So I don't have a paycheck, and I also am in this debt, and they need their payments every month. Listen, that really, really, really frustrated me throughout 2019, 2020, 2021. And one of the things that I really, really focused on, other than building an emergency fund, because of course, losing my job taught me that I needed an emergency fund. Other than putting money in my emergency fund, the thing I started doing was attacking my debt. The mobile loans, I finished them. I finished my HELB loan. I finished my SACCO loan. And let me tell you guys, if you have never been debt-free, and you become debt-free, that's the only time you understand how much debt was killing you. Because before, I was really struggling to save and invest. Like, I would hear people talking about saving, investing, planning for my future. And in my mind, I'm just like, please, my friend, I don't have the privilege to do this. But like the moment I became debt-free, I had all this money. Like for the first time in my life, I started seeing that my financial dreams and my financial goals were actually going to become a reality someday. Because number one, I wasn't at a deficit. And number two, there was so much money. Like now, everything I was reading about and everything I wanted to practice financially started making sense. So like, oh, I can add more money into this emergency fund. Oh, I can now start, this sinking fund to ensure that my bills throughout the year are taken care of. Oh, I can now start like investing. Like it makes so much sense. But when you overstretch your paycheck, your income with just paying loans left, right, and center, no matter how many times you watch this channel or consume any personal finance content, it's never going to make sense for you and it's never going to become a reality for you because there's no money to save and there's no money to invest. So one of the things, like since I became debt-free, guys, I've been able to build such an impressive portfolio in terms of savings and investments. I've been able to save up to 9 months worth of an emergency fund. Like if today my business crumbled, I can survive at my current level of lifestyle for 9 months without an income. I mean, some of these things you can only achieve when there's not so much stress on your paycheck. So as a young professional, tafadhali, please, do not normalize living a life you cannot afford. Do not normalize buying things you can clearly not afford. Just because the loans are accessible to you does not mean that you should take them. Resist. Just live within your means. Buy what you can afford. Live a life that you can afford. Stay out of debt as a young professional. It's going to benefit you hugely as you advance much more in age. The fourth thing that you need to be keen on as a young professional is to live within your means. I know when we are young, we think that living a flashy lifestyle, wearing flashy clothes, driving flashy cars, being able to party anywhere at any time with whomever is what wealth is. But I hate to break it to you. Wealth is not what you spend. Wealth is what is left after you have spent. So everything you're seeing people spending on social media, the flashy lifestyles that are being flaunted on social media should not pressure you at all, because that's what they're spending. That's not ideally what they're keeping, which means that's not always a reflection of the true wealth that all of us are carrying. The first thing that you need to, or rather the most important thing that you need to remember is that as much as we are all like posting on social media, flaunting lives on social media, etc., when the rubber really meets the road, most of the time you're actually going to be alone. And I've seen this a lot. You party with people, you do all of these fun things with people, you travel with people, you try to keep up with these people. But like if you've ever been in a situation where you've been unwell, or you have a family member who's unwell and like there's money needed, or you have a real money emergency, it's not always the case that these people are as enthusiastic to spend this money on you the same way that you spend money with them. So remember that wealth is what you have after you've actually spent. So everything that you're seeing people flaunting or spending doesn't necessarily reflect that they are worth it. Remember, I've said this on this channel time and time again, the goal is to be wealthy, not just to look wealthy. And the sooner you realize that, like the younger, or rather as young as possible, you carry that lesson, as you age, you're going to discover that you're going to build wealth faster than someone who's ever flaunting online or on social media or even in your social circles. You're going to build wealth faster as someone who lives within their means, keeps their heads down, lives a life that they can afford. And even as you age, you're going to realize that you have less and less money regrets. So remember, wealth is what is left after you have spent. So if you actually want to be wealthy in the long run, like as a young person, you envision yourself on private jets, yachts, building those houses, whatever it is that wealth looks like. Remember, that is what is left after you've spent. So if you're spending all of your money to keep up, if you're spending all of your money to impress, if you're spending all of your money to just, show people that you're also doing as well as they are trying to make you think they are, then rest assured you're not going to retain a lot of money to make you wealthy in the long run. So please ensure that as a young individual, you live within your means. And this is one of the things that I also have had to really, really have conversations with myself around, because like my job is on social media. I am on social media a lot and I see people way younger than me flaunting the fanciest of lifestyles. And can I be honest? I want that too. Like I want to live like a soft life. You understand? And because of that, I do understand that we get so much pressure to want to have this car, want to have to, have this kind of phone, travel often, have the most aesthetically pleasing social media images and all of those things. But one of the things that I think in my previous point when I was talking about my debt situation, it really encouraged me in 2021 and 2022 when I started my investment journey and I started seeing my portfolio growing and I started seeing my emergency fund going from like 1 month to 2 months to 3 months, and now we are at 9 months. Guys, when you start saving and investing, and when you start like as an individual looking at your investment portfolio or your savings portfolio and realizing that I'm actually not doing so bad for myself. I don't drive a BMW, but like I'm okay with, I drive a very low cc car. So I'm like, it's okay. Like when I look at like how much money I've actually retained versus how much money I have spent, it really makes me feel financially safe, financially secure, just knowing that small emergencies will not have me borrowing. Nanyi watu nawajua hata nikiomba pesa mwezi nipea. So, I mean, I'm very, very aware that just because we are on social media and just because we are doing this doesn't mean that these people will show up for me. So I've had to really take matters into my own hands and invest and retain as much money as possible. Listen, if you're a young professional right now, and especially I know us guys nowadays, I know some of us are struggling, but I also know some of us are doing very, very well in our businesses. People in the tech space, software engineering are really earning some good money and in other different careers. The best thing that you can do for yourself as a young professional is retain as much money as possible. So even if you earn 800K, even if you earn $1 million, even if you earn like 200 Gs, the goal here, as as long as you're a young professional, because there's not so many responsibilities, retain as much money as possible. You're gonna build wealth faster than someone who's always flaunting wealth. Okay. Number 5, as a young professional, I want to advise you to start thinking and planning for major life milestones and major life events right now. We are talking if you'd like to have a wedding, if you'd like to start a family, if you'd like to have kids, if you'd like to own a home. All of those things are things you need to start thinking about and planning for right now. And I know it sounds very counterintuitive because most of the times we are told, okay, just wait. In your 30s, in your 40s, that's when you think about these things. But all of these things, you don't plan for them when you get there. You plan for them before you get there. Because the moment you start, like for example, I don't have kids right now, but I do know for a fact that in the near future, I would love to be a parent. And because of that, I'm not waiting for that to happen for me to start planning for kids. I already have an investment account with funds specifically designed, saved, and are being saved on a constant monthly basis for the purpose of being a parent. Whether I'm going to use that money, it's not necessarily like decided what the money is going to be for yet, but I know it's going to be for children. So whether that's going to be for my delivery, whether that's going to be for baby class, whether that's, we are not going to touch that money maybe until they're in high school, the money is there and it's actually being accumulated and saved for every month. So what am I saying? Again, it is a trap when someone tells you or advises you that you don't want to start thinking about these things too soon. So someone would probably ask me, you've never had kids before, so how do you even know you can have kids? That's the thing. Like, how do I know that I will not have twins the first time I try? Like, it's those things. So, I mean, even if I end up not having kids, there's adoption, there's all of these things that they're still going to require money. So what I'm saying is that as a young professional or as a young individual, you want to start being strategic. I'm talking about even things like retirement. Guys, I'm going to link a video I did about retirement in the description box down below. And I ran some of these numbers for you guys. And one of the things that really came out strongly is that you need to have started planning for your retirement like 18 years ago. When you turned 18, if you're actually going to retire comfortably in our country, in the current economy. You understand? So you can't tell me I'm 20 and I'm 30 and therefore I'm too young to start thinking about retirement. If you start thinking about retirement at 45 or 50, ask anyone who's doing that right now. It's super stressful because, again, remember, when you're young, you have the advantage of time. And that's the most amazing thing you can have on your side. So when you're thinking, I want you to actually sit down. You may not have all of these things right now, but imagine your future self. Do you want a house? Do you want to retire comfortably? When do you want to retire? At 40, 50, 60? Do you want children? What kind of schools do you want them to go? When do you want to own your first home? When do you want to start driving? When do you want to marry or get married? All of those things. Now, as a young professional, is when you need to think about that. You know why? Because now you can structure your savings and your investments to start preparing you. Let me tell you guys, I started saving up for my retirement when I was 26. And that has, I mean, even if I do retire, let's even say at 46, I have given myself a solid 20 years of investing towards my retirement. You know what that does for me? I'm able to do bare minimum on those investment accounts, or very little money on those investment accounts, because I have a lot of time still, as opposed to someone who only has, who only has 5 years to retirement, and like they're trying to get like 5-figure, 6-figure investment amounts to put into that if they want to retire comfortably. So think about major life milestones. So what are those? Starting a family. So that is either getting married, also getting children. Think about housing. Do you want to have a home? Think about where you want to live. Do you want to live in Kenya? Do you want to live abroad? Think about whether you'd want to advance further education. Think about the school you would want your children to go to. Start thinking about when and how you would like to retire. Those are big and major life milestones. Have them at the back of your mind, and then start structuring your finances, your too little savings here and there around those areas. Listen, when you get there and you're comparing with your fellow 40-year-old buddies or fellow 50-year-old buddies, you will look like such a pro, or like, you know, you had really organized yourself, or like you're really, really rich. But most people, it's not because they are very, very rich or because they have very, very good salaries. Sometimes it's because they are very, very good planners. So when you get there and you compare with people who are just taking life easy and not thinking about those things, you're probably going to be way ahead and at a much better advantage, because you started planning early, putting aside this money early. So at that age, you're not under so much pressure. I feel like as we get older, life becomes super stressful, like way more stressful than we ever could imagine. And the last thing that I want to do is to look back and just have 1 million, mistakes that I made and regret. Listen, guys, if I had $1 for every time I had a class with someone who's way much older than me, who told me, Susan, I wish I had this information when I was in my 20s. I wish I had this information when I was in my 30s. I wish these things were taught to us in school. I'd have been so rich so long ago, or I'd have built something for myself, because now they're trying to figure it out in their 40s and their 50s. Listen, if you're a young professional, now is the time to think about these things. And if you're also a much older brother or a much older sister who's watching this video, please share in the comment section, what is one thing you wish you knew as a young professional, or you wish you did as a young professional, that now as you're much more advanced in age, as you look back in retrospect, you're like, I wish someone told me this. So that us guys who are much younger can go through the comment section and learn a thing or two, and really just go back and think about how we are treating our money, how we are relating to our money, and how we are handling our finances. So please give us a bit of advice and tell us what you wish you knew, or any regrets that you have about how you handled money as a young person, so that we can also pick out some nuggets from you guys. Lastly, as a young professional who's interested in being a very good financial planner or being very good with money, you must invest in financial literacy. Listen, these things were not taught to us in school. Remember, we said that we work almost half our lives going to school for this money. We give more than half of our lives and our time as adults to our employers or to money-making activities. You need to get into a personal finance class to be taught how to budget. If you've never attended a class about budgeting, you need to attend a class on budgeting. If you've never attended a class on how to invest, you need to attend a class on investments. If you've never attended a class on how to maneuver money mindset, you need to attend these classes. An investment in education will pay you the best return, and it's a gift that keeps giving and giving and giving even as you age. So I keep telling people, the number of times that I've actually never paid for a class or paid for a consultation or paid for to get any form of literacy, and I've looked back on it and regretted. There is no such thing as wasted information or a wasted class. You might want to actually sit in a class and understand these things, because a lot of us are trying to figure it out on our own, and we end up making some grave money mistakes, some grave investment mistakes. We lose money in instances where we should never have lost money at all. So as a young professional, one of the things that you need to invest in as you're investing in your dental care, you need to ensure that you're investing in financial literacy. Get a coach like myself to take you through a session or a number of sessions. Ensure that you're reading personal finance books. Ensure that you're consuming personal finance content. Ensure that you surround yourself with people who are not afraid to talk about money, not afraid to share money and investment opportunities. Invest in your education as much as possible. Again, as I've told you guys, I get so many people telling me that they wish they had this information when they were much younger, in their 20s or in their 30s. You're definitely, this is a given, you are going to regret not getting financial literacy, of course, as you get older. So right now, when there's leeway, when there's an opportunity, when you've made as little mistakes as possible, ensure that you have invested in financial literacy. So guys, I really enjoyed having this conversation with you guys. I love talking to young people because I am a young person, so I feel like we get each other. You guys can let me know in the comment section, but I hope you picked something that you can apply, something that you can run with, and something that you can immediately decide to act on. I'm very, very happy that you guys were able to join me on this episode. Remember to share this video with your fellow youngings. If you have a young person on your phone book, please forward this video to them, and also ensure that you turn on the notification bell and subscribe so that you can access more and more of my content as I keep uploading. Again, thank you so much guys for supporting my channel and for watching this episode. I will see you on the next episode of Finance Friday. Keep safe.